Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Soul Talks with Alka. Today we have a live episode, and I have with me a powerhouse. With me today is Dr. Shubha Varma. Dr. Shubha Varma is a vascular surgeon here in the United States, but she has been doing some amazing work for the COVID crisis in India. Dr. Varma, welcome to Soul Talks with Alka.
Thank you, Alka ji.
I thank you, thank you,
Namaskar
thank you.
and Jai Ho.
Jai Ho, Jai Ho. So I want to know, obviously everybody knows of the COVID crisis that's happening. What prompted you to say, I'm going to take the matters in my own hands and do this?
It's very hard to say exactly what prompted that moment,
Yeah.
but I can only say that every day brought so much, devastation and
Yes.
such devastating news that I felt myself sinking into this feeling of hopelessness
Yes.
that really we really have no power to stop all that was happening, and it is a very disempowering feeling,
Yes.
especially physicians have this, I wouldn't say God complex, because we all do know that it's ultimately in God's hands, but we do have this feeling that हाँ हम तो ठीक कर सकते हैं, we can take care of this, we can fix things, we can. But this just seemed so beyond anything that we could do,
Yes.
and
Especially since we're so far away.
especially since we are so far away, and we have a
Yes.
very active physicians group, um, a lot of whom my classmates are in India.
Okay.
So we would hear their thoughts and we would see all that they were going through and all that we went through here in the United States last year, approximately
Mm,
about the same time. And it was just, oftentimes we all want to do things, but we don't know how, right?
yes.
We don't know how. It seems almost like an indomitable task to be able to reach into the different hospitals, uh, in the interiors of India and the different states of India, and really figure out what their needs are, and then be able to generate enough funds and to be able to bring that, you know,
Right.
to the right place. But I do believe that when the why becomes very strong, when the why overwhelmingly becomes very powerful, the how just falls into place.
That's right.
And it's really not that uh, I'm doing anything, or any one person can even do something like this. It is an amazing, amazing network of people, and I'm but a small channel through which this work is being channeled. I mean, the generosity of the, including your generosity, in the donations that you've made towards this cause, and so many people have donated, anywhere from $5 to thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
We were able to put together, significant amount of money, and then we also were following what was happening with the help that was being sent, through the government of India and the Indian Red Cross, and the stories that we were hearing from our friends on the ground in Delhi, and as well as other places in India, was that, um, all that was just not available to the
Mm.
hospitals and the physicians.
And that's a question that I have, that when you were starting, right, you're so far away, and anything that you do from here, a part of you always wonders, is it going to get to the right hands, right? So yes, your why was big, but your how and the semantics of all of that, like how did you all that into play to say, where are we going, right? Part of our humbled by your service group, when we were looking to donate to some place, we were like, we want to make sure it's going to the right place, because we're taking everybody's hard-earned money and we're sending it, but is the money actually going to go anywhere, or is it going to go to like scammers or whatever, right? But now when I find out you were doing it, I said, okay, you know what, I know a credible source is doing it, I know it's going to get there. But how did that credible source make it happen, with being working, with having a family life, with doing all of that, and had the ground running?
Yeah, so it really all just came together. I mean, I really cannot explain But I can tell you that the family life was put on hold. Even my workplace people, it was as if the whole universe came together to
Wow.
facilitate this need. And I think they all sensed in me that, okay, we need to make do whatever we can to let her do this, because it really, I couldn't sleep at night. I was not hungry. It was all non-stop, just this, that how do we how do we get our beloved India out of this situation? How do we stop this rampage, this coronavirus pandemic that was just consuming so many families and so many, including members in my family, which
Yeah.
which really, in the big scheme of things, it's a small thing, because you see how many thousands, millions of people are affected by this. So
Yeah. But while you were doing this, were you getting personal phone calls that, I want to get this sent here and I want to get this sent to my family? Because we were such a small part of your charity effort. And I got so many calls from people saying, I want to send it to my family. I want to send 5 here. I want to send because everybody, it's hit everyone so close to home. And but obviously you were working for a much larger picture. You were working for a much bigger hospital base. I just want to know, like, when someone has that vision, what groundwork did you have to do to make that vision a reality?
well, I had to be very careful that
Yeah,
it would not become about personal favors, because this is not my money, right?
yeah,
This
yeah,
is money that has been donated to us
yes,
by thousands of people, and I had to use it even with more responsibility than I use my own money,
absolutely.
because it is other people's money, and I did not want there to be even remotely any semblance of any impropriety or any irresponsible use of the money, or any suggestion that it could be used for sending things for personal, here, or personal there.
Right.
So that's why we chose hospitals to send
Yes.
to, and we made it very clear that unfortunately I cannot send it to one or two people. I don't mind spending my own personal money for sending
Right.
it to whoever needs it, but this money that came through donations, I wanted to send it through government hospitals and through charitable hospitals. um, I did not even want to send it to the corporate machinery in India, because they are about they're a business. And
Their business.
yeah, so we wanted to make it available to the not so well off, and to the real, the people who don't have anybody looking out for them, and don't have large deep pockets into which they can reach for the care of their loved ones.
Yeah.
So
So we hear stories about, oxygen concentrators stuck. They're in warehouses, they're in customs, they're not there. But yours made it to the right place. How did you do that? How did you make that happen where you got the right clearances? First, you got the right product, then you got the right clearance, and then it got to the right place. Because that's a lot of effort coming from so far. You're oceans apart, right? So you're navigating a lot of uncharted waters, so to speak, because it's not something you do every day.
yeah, so I can just say that it was teamwork.
Yeah.
We had people within the Indian government who were guiding us,
Okay.
and we had people with and the Indian government did, in all fairness, waive any duties if charitable donations were made
Yes.
for any respiratory equipment for the use for COVID patients. So that made it a little bit easier.
Yes.
And then the fact that we had chosen, charities and government hospitals only to send it to, that made it easier. I mean, it's not easy. It was a lot of
Yeah.
phone calls and tracking shipments, and calling this one and calling the nodal officers and customs, and calling the consignees, who we had mailed to make sure that they had all the paperwork, they had the letters, they had waivers that
Yes.
they needed to get all that paperwork together. And literally, it is all teamwork. I really cannot take any credit personally for any of the work that was done. I'm thrilled that we have been able to make a very, very small difference in the lives of at least a few people. Uh,
And how many oxygen concentrators were you able to send?
so we sent initially we sent 5 liter concentrators,
Right.
and initially we sent 200 concentrators, and we sent them to Kolkata,
Okay.
Ahmedabad, Delhi, Mumbai, Karnataka, Kerala. Um, we've sent, we sent initially in the initial ones, we sent some to Bangalore, Lucknow. I think those are the main ones that we sent. And then we sent some more to, the Gurudwaras, for example, right?
Nice.
I mean, we have the Sikh community. We know that they always come through, whether
That's
it's
it.
this crisis or that. We
Yes.
know that, they are there. They are
Right.
very committed to the concept of seva.
Right.
And so we sent them high flow nasal cannulas, we sent them concentrators. We sent 10-liter concentrators, which are a lot more expensive, but
Yes.
they're a lot more useful for sicker patients.
Yes.
And we sent high flow nasal cannulas, which are also very useful for the more sicker patients.
Right.
So, but those are also a lot more expensive. Um, and now it's moved to the next phase of this, which is really the psychosocial emotional uh,
Yes.
recovery from this, uh,
Yes.
which will take a very long time.
Right. But when you're sending stuff from here, how are you making sure that the base in India is where you're getting the right people? Now you said you have physician friends, obviously, but how are they making sure in the heart of the crisis that it's how are you chartering which hospital it'll go to? Is it just networking that you were doing?
It was networking, lot of conversations, lot of phone calls.
Okay.
The Ramakrishna Mission hospitals, of course, I know of personally because um, we've been associated. Our family has been associated with Ramakrishna Mission hospitals, and we know that they do a lot of service. They have very, very advanced, very tertiary level care in these hospitals, and we wanted to use charitable hospitals.
Right.
That was an easy choice. And then we used the government hospitals. We identified
Mm,
COVID designated hospitals,
mm,
because those are the hospitals that were really taking care of the COVID patients, and they were the ones that were maximally overwhelmed with these patients and not having enough to treat these patients. I mean,
absolutely.
we would hear stories of junior doctors calling the senior doctors and just saying, "Yeah, we're not calling to complain, we just want to cry."
Yeah.
you know so the physician community has been through
A lot.
a lot,
Yeah.
and to hear that desperation, that helplessness, that hopelessness in their voices, and that
Yeah.
because they didn't have the materials, and they would say that we could have saved these patients, but we don't have oxygen, we don't have basic medicines.
Yeah.
That,
So for someone who says, I still want to send something to my family, I still want to send an oxygen concentrator, have you navigated the waters to see how people can send from here
yeah.
to people in India?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that people can definitely send.
Okay.
I can tell you that I purchased, before all this started, I would say
Okay.
about 2 months ago. uh, Something guided me, or whatever. I anticipated a little bit of a problem, and I purchased a concentrator. Before I got involved in any of this, I purchased a concentrator on Amazon,
Mm.
and for $900.
Mm.
And it came to me from China. It took 3 weeks to come to me, to my house,
Wow.
and I had to take it to FedEx and ship it, just one concentrator for my mother,
Mm.
who is in Mumbai, way back before all of this. This thing hit us
Mm.
so suddenly and so fast. So before that, so it is very expensive to ship. It's
Mm.
very, very expensive to ship,
Mm.
and they're quite expensive. But I don't, the way to send it is to try to get one through surgical supply stores.
Got it. Okay.
Cornell Surgical. Some of these places have oxygen concentrators. And I reached into the Hackensack physician community, the
Mm.
folks who actually take care of the elderly and who know what the system here is in the United States.
Hmm.
A lot of people are on home oxygen,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they use oxygen concentrators because they don't have a source of oxygen in their home.
Right.
So they were able to direct me to these supply chains within the US,
Hmm.
and then we were able to mass ship these um, to the different hospitals.
Wow. Okay. So, but people, when they're doing it, should they be sending 5 liter ones? Should they be sending 10 liters one? There's like so much information of what works, right? But which ones would you recommend for personal use?
So it depends on what the oxygen need is, right? So most
Okay.
people who get COVID may not need any oxygen, right? Most people
Okay.
may just have a cold or a cough or a little fever. I myself had COVID last year when we were going through this in this
Right.
country, and I had a very mild, uh, just a loss of taste and smell, and a day of fever and nothing. I didn't need anything.
Hmm.
Uh, my husband, on the other hand, he was also very sick. He was running 7 COVID units here in the United States
Oh,
at
wow.
Sac Hospital, and he was quite sick. And it was the prayers of our, Gurujan and our loved ones, and uh, really divine intervention. And I managed him at home. We never needed to put him on oxygen, but he did drop his oxygen saturations. So the mild and the moderate people will likely just be okay with the 5 liter concentrators.
Got it.
What the concentrators do is basically remove the nitrogen from the air, right?
Hmm.
Air, you get a 93 to 95% oxygen um, in the inspired air,
Hmm.
and that can then be hooked up to through the nasal cannula or whatever, so that the person can get an oxygen rich air to breathe into to maintain their oxygen saturations.
Got it.
If a person has more severe COVID, where they need a larger amount of oxygen at a higher flow rate, then you need the 10 liter uh,
Okay.
concentrators.
Got it.
Yeah. And the,
Okay.
the one thing that is very different about this particular illness, as compared to any other illness I have ever known about, or any other people have ever known about that I know, is that it is such an isolation. Once a patient goes to the hospital,
Yes.
they lose all touch with family. I mean, it's not like, okay,
Yes.
5 p.m. to 7 p.m. is visiting hours. People are going to come and visit. They're going to bring home food. And really, there's no way to be there.
Hold on
And
one second. Hold on one second,
yeah,
Dr. Shubha. We are paused for some reason. So hold on. Let me see why it's doing that. Stream. Okay, we're okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So what's happening in India is that a lot of people don't want to go to the hospital. So they've set
Yeah.
up these mini ICUs at home, and some of the home care, organizations in India have created these programs where they provide home care, and they've set up home ICUs. And
Hmm.
just in case somebody falls sick, they don't have to go, and they have a nurse who comes to the house, and the person is at home, they're taken care of. So a lot of that is going on, and it's a very different illness than any other
Yes.
that we've
Yeah, it's nothing anyone has seen.
yeah, yeah,
But now that you're saying,
maintained.
hmm,
So that's why we are trying to see. We just want to send one shipment first to make sure that it gets properly at the right temperature, you know, because the direct flights only go to Delhi and Mumbai, right? Uh,
right?
so that's why that's our concern, that we want to first make sure that the transfer process, the transportation process, is adequately in place before we send and spend so much more money of our donations, which have so generously been donated by so many people.
And if somebody wants to donate, where do they donate to you?
So far, the donations have been through the GoFundMe page, either into an account that was created, it's for Oxygen for India project, or through Venmo, or through a 501c3 tax deductible organization. And we were working closely with the um, American Bladder Extra Fee community.
Okay.
And we were working as a team. Like I said, it's not me, it's not any one person or any two people. It's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah. It's a
people.
lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they could
Right.
donate through those channels, continue to donate. And then the third step is that our thinking is that this should never happen again where we run out of oxygen, you know.
Yes.
There are
Yes.
so many hospitals, there are 50 bed, 70 bed hospitals on the peripheries of these big cities that have no oxygen supply. And
Yeah.
so we're talking about getting oxygen plants.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So what does that entail now?
So that entails, first of all, this entails that, first of all, we have to identify reliable vendors who can construct these oxygen plants. Obviously, it takes a longer time.
Right.
Um, and then we have to see whether the oxygen plants are going to hook up into these wall units that we see in the hospitals in the United States, or
Wow.
will they just be used to fill oxygen cylinders that
Nice.
are already in existence? So that's our next, and we are currently in the process of doing research on those. Uh,
Wow. So look where this started and look where this went. It's crazy.
yes, it has taken a life of its own, and it's
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. So it who's helping you in the facilitation part of it all?
So there are there are so many people. So there is Dr. Shukla from the ABEC, Dr. Talwar from the ABEC. She's a young urology resident. Ms. Golamuri from my music institution, our Guruji from our music institute. Then there are a lot of friends who are in many different capacities. They all have day jobs that are other than doing this work, and we have friends who are social workers who have established a connection with the social worker network of in within India. So
Nice.
now another limb of that is how do we get food and 3 week supply of rations to the people who have been out of work,
Yes.
because of lockdowns or because they were already under the poverty line
Yeah.
before the pandemic started. All those things are going on. There's a
Yeah.
lot of work to be done. And
Yes. So last week we had a guest who was supplying the ration and supplying food to people in Pune who started the same way. But all of these are, like you said, these are the effects of COVID that we're going to start to see. What about the kids whose parents have passed, and what happens with their educations, and what happens with their lives actually?
yeah,
So there's so many emotional and societal effects that are going to happen.
yeah. So we are actually working on those. We have one of my friends is a pediatric and adolescent psychiatrist here with the Hackensack Meridian Group. She and I were in the same medical school class. So she is, in the process of making small little videos or messages or things like that that we could
Nice.
then circulate in different languages. We are in touch with some of the folks who are in Delhi with the child welfare agencies in India. We have a Zoom meeting on Friday with all this social work network, along with these people involved with pediatric and adolescent um, psychological, psycho emotional aspects of this pandemic. Uh,
Wow, that's amazing.
yeah, and
That's
that's another
really,
fantasy.
really, really amazing. Really.
Thank you. Thank you. Really, I shouldn't even say thank you because I'm really one very small part of this endeavor. And
Yeah. But sometimes you're just the liaison for all of it, right? So you're the liaison who's putting everything together. So without you being as a common thread, it cannot happen. And so for that, really, thank you. This is so important. Where it started from oxygen concentrators to to now the injections, to this the societal impact, all of this is cannot be minimized and definitely cannot be repeated. So we want to thank you, Dr. Shubha, for doing this. Thank you for doing this for the community. Thank you for doing this, being here and doing it for the people in India. Because all of us who are here really feel so helpless being here and not being able to do so much. So then we have someone like you who can do it. We're so happy to be a part of it. And we're so happy that we can help you get to your goals. So we
Well,
want to thank you, thank you, thank you.
you're very welcome, but I want to say thank you to you. And I
Ah,
want to say thank you to all our donors. And I especially want to say thank you to our inspiring and guiding light, the inspiring and guiding lights in our lives that guide us.
yes,
We are just channels. We just do
yes,
what our guiding lights guide us towards and inspire us towards, and really the energy that I channel through me is, through those blessings that I am blessed to have upon my head. And all of us are doing, you are doing, everybody who has donated
yes.
even $5 has done something to impact the life of somebody. So I want to say thank you to you, and as well as to your audience, and to all the people who have donated and made this possible.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shubha. Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching another episode of Soul Talks with Alka. We appreciate it. And we want to thank Dr. Shubha Varma for all of us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jai Ho.
Jai Ho.
Jai Ho. Thank you.